Greetings, video friends. This is Billy Cultist, returning to No Man's Sky. What a feeling it is to actually start the game off in a nice, comfortable landing pad here. Our ship is finally able to be docked at this superb landing pad, which I constructed the last time around. So the ship doesn't have to sit out there by the lake like it's been doing ever since this base was founded. But we have things to do, so we might as well get into it. But before we go straight into it, I do want to say that, yes, the Glyph game will be active for this video, so stick around throughout the video and collect glyphs like this one. This is the first one in a collection of glyphs. If you watch all the way through the video and collect all the random glyphs, there's going to be a planet which I will showcase at the end, an interesting planet from my travels. And if you collect all those glyphs, you'll be able to line them up and use them at an alien portal to go straight to that planet that I show at the end. Go ahead and skip to the end if you're wondering if it's even worth your time to collect the glyphs, because you might not be interested in the planet that I have to offer. But if you do want to get there, you will have to get those glyphs. Pay attention and watch the whole video through. And yeah, you'll have to input those glyphs in the order in which they appear in the video to get there. But basically, yeah, that's going to be enacted. And yeah, and throughout the video, go ahead and leave comments. It's very helpful for the YouTube stuff. Even if you really don't have anything to say, leave something like, if you want to support me, you know, leave something like, curse you, YouTube algorithm, or YouTube, or whatever, because YouTube's pretty goofy the way it works with people. But anyway, we need to get on with it. We have, as we can see, that teleporter set up from last time, and what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to connect this teleporter. We're going to need to make another teleporter down below, because at the moment there is no way to get up and down from up here. Another thing we'll have to do, though, is power the teleporter, because, you know, teleporters don't work without power like most of these things, and we are functioning on the principles of power here. So I'm just going to try to find something. Really, anything will do. I believe that's one of the storage boxes, and we hook that up to power the teleporter. But we do not have a paired teleporter below to which this teleporter can teleport, which means that we are going to have to install one, and probably that installation will take place on this level of the base, to which I cannot access from the outside, so we're going to have to go down and get to that level to start installation, I suppose. But that's easy enough, because we have already installed a teleporter on the ground floor. That will take us to the collection level. And here we are. Speaking of, we'll detour for just a moment, if you will allow, and collect our harvest of 76,000 paraffinium. Just store that nicely there. Actually, I might go ahead and put it into our storage. Oh yes, the storage is universal, so it's linked to all the various whatever. All storage is universal. There's our paraffinium. So we'll put that in there. I have been thinking about the base, and there's another utility that we could probably attach that would be interesting to build a structure to contain, but also very useful, and that would be refinery section, because refiners come in handy if you want to convert, say, all this paraffinium into Ferrite, which I believe is what you can refine it into. But now that that's done, back to the task at hand. We need to put in a teleporter. And I think what I will do, this looks like a good spot. I will knock out this wall. Hopefully this will go smoothly. And I will put a little teleporter booth. And it'll be just exactly opposite this one, because I like the way that layout would work in my mind right now. So we knocked that wall out, and as you see here, we do have a little space right in between where we can put this. So we'll do that. And I'm just going to... That worked really nicely. And we'll build a little teleporter booth. And I believe I will raise it up a bit. Just because teleporters tend to... see this, as you can see... Teleporters will tend to stick up quite high, so... I'm just going to raise it up with the intention of avoiding some ugly clipping, I suppose. It's not that big a deal, but I don't know. I like it. In this case, I like to be somewhat neat, so we will raise that up a bit. That might not even actually be enough. We'll find out. And as usual, I have all the requirements to plant the teleporter right now. I suppose if I was being really thoughtful, I could color code this so that we knew precisely that it would lead to the upper deck there, but and we've got a minimal amount of clipping going on right there in the wall, and there's a little bit going on with the ceiling, even though I did adjust it, but I think I'll accept that. We do need to power this teleporter. And luckily all those wires will not be visible. There, we have power. Now the only remaining thing to be done is to pair it. And that's interesting. I didn't know this was open. Well then, I will have to put the dunce cap on for my earlier antics of going all the way down to the ground floor to get in there, because I suppose I could have just jumped in there all along and not gone on that journey. But water under the bridge. We'll take the teleport cable now, which in No Man's Sky is our most convenient way of pairing a teleporter. And we'll make sure there's our teleport booth. What's going on? Cannot build too close to the starship. Okay, so I believe I might have talked about this the last time, but yes. Apparently the game is believing that the starship bounding box is intersecting with our teleporter wire in some inappropriate fashion. So I'm just going to call the starship down to the old, backyard sand patch where it used to land all the time before. And we'll have to make our way back up there so that we could do this again. Yeah, my most intense apologies for that little unfortunate detour. I had no idea. I think in my mind, the teleporter cable is not a physical thing. Certainly doesn't appear to be a physical thing in the game. And so I did not think this issue would come up. Also, I did not think it was close enough to the starship to create this issue, even had it been physical, but apparently that's not the case. Now hopefully we can hook it up without any further problems. There we go. Teleporter's paired correctly, and we should be able now to access this upper level at will through the teleporter. And that will be very helpful because we will need to do a lot of that. I have noticed though here as we've been working up top on this roof, my eye has been drawn to this gaping hole, which I don't think we should have. However, I'm going to take this moment to basically work on this terminus point here, where we, connect these two things. We need to put some more pipes before we go ahead so that we do not let that be undone. I believe gray was the color we used previously. Just connect those all the way up. Hopefully that's... Yeah, it is. Okay. And the same with the smaller ones. All the way to the top. And that's about it for that. Now my interest is going to be this cylindrical room frame, which we will have to delete one of these, but I think that would make a nice cap right there to close that off. I like that. I like these pieces that have kind of like girders or beams. They give it this kind of cage look. Very industrial looking. I like that look. I think what I'll also do is I'm going to encircle this. It's going to have a little more thickness and also add some more of that industrial girder look, although we're not quite doing what I want there. I only want it on the four sides, not all the way around, but just on those particular sides, like that. See, I think that gives it more of a thickness. It looks better to the eye, I think. We could put them down below too, but I don't know. That may be a little bit overkill. I could put some pipes along the sides as well. We kind of diverted now into decorating this structure here, but that's acceptable to me. Will have to be done anyway. And I'm just going to set these up as precisely as I can. Yes, anybody who's new to this series, go ahead and check out the rest of the series, because I've been building this base for some time now. There's an entire playlist, which is linked in the description, and also you could find it on the channel page, of course. But we go from the very beginning of me finding, looking for a planet to build the base, and then building the base. We go all the way there, and you get to see how I started this base, and ultimately you're going to see how I end this base. That is, if everything goes according to plan, and we don't have any unexpected life issues that arise to stop me from doing that. But that is the intention. So yeah, you really should follow the series, especially if you enjoy this video. You should definitely check the rest of them. Although I must admit, they may not all have the same kind of, I don't know, atmosphere as this one, because I am, I don't know, as a video host, I am sometimes a little remiss, or a little, what would the right word be? Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of a better word than remiss, but a little bit out of it. And so the atmosphere and all the videos may not be equal. Some are definitely probably better than others, but we have, I think, created a more visually interesting connection column there with just a little bit of work. I like that quite a bit. There's still more to be done, but let's get in and test the teleporter. And now that I have locked myself out of that, we are going to have to go down to the bottom level and get back up the old way, but we could go now. Presumably, we can make it all the way to the top of our tower with just teleporters. And the racket is extreme coming from these devices. The sound of industry, though, may bring a sweet sensation to some of you if you enjoy industry greatly, as I do. I'm an industrial magnet myself, especially in No Man's Sky. I've created a world of industry that spans many planets. And as you may notice, we have come to the top of our tower simply by using the power of teleportation. Now, the important thing that I want to emphasize right now is that I don't think I will be calling the ship back, just because we intend to do some more construction probably up here. And the ship, you know, has just already caused us issues, so we will leave it down there by the lake for now. I do have to kind of take some time to consider what I want to do up here. There's obviously the option of adding some detailing work, which I may do while I think, because that way there's something I could show you, but additionally I can think about what I want to do next up here. So we'll just add some random, you know, fuel cells or whatever up here to make it look more like an actual used landing pad area. We would have plenty of this kind of thing laying around. So, in considering what I want to do next with the tower as a whole, but it's also going to align with what I do up top of the tower, is I have noticed that in choosing to put this landing pad up here, I have neglected to put a component that I typically put on these mining installations, which would be a control room slash a residential suite for the administrator of the mine. Which, yes, now that we have this landing pad up here, we can't really do that. I'm considering, though, just below it, it might be possible to affix some kind of structure. Let's go into the 3D view here and take a look at what we've got so that we can determine. However, my problem is if I do make it too large, it's going to visually impact the tower, possibly in a negative way. But I could affix something to the bottom of this structure. In contrast, however, I could, in fact, choose to put my control facilities at a lower level of the tower, which is typically not what I do, but I also typically do not put a landing pad on top of the tower. This is a new variation of the mining tower from the one that I like quite a bit, but I am going to have to think. I think I really am going to try this approach of putting a control room somewhere lower and possibly affixing it. I like the idea of connecting the control facility via a walkway, potentially. Seems like a neat idea to me. However, we do have to think about how we can get in and out. So I need to go back down and take a look at what we've got going on inside the tower. So we're now at the collection level, which sits above all of these. And the next level down is the maintenance level, and the problem with the maintenance levels. It's very low. We have right below this, though. The possibility exists. We could use the level right below this. I don't know. Okay. So this is what's below. That's a bit... We could do this. I'm favoring running it out here. Off the side. Right through this, probably. Yeah. We could do that. Although, if I wanted to use... Another thing that needs to be taken into consideration, though, is how we can access all of this, so that's going to be important to think about. Like, we need a way to get up here from there, because you don't want to be stuck. I think, though, we could figure that out. There. And there. Well, that's certainly not. I'm trying to think. It would be nice if I could get a stairwell to go up the side of this, but I do not really see how. Yeah, I don't see how that's going to go. Because that's not going to run. That's not going to connect to those. I could always jerry-rig something. It is feasible. Although a bit wonky, it could be a bit wonky, but it could be feasible. So, for example, I have my stairs here. We could connect them, even though it's a bit cumbersome. I need to temporarily put these across here. I don't know why that's being that way. Okay. It's supposed to be free placement. There we go. So the thing to do would be... We're running the stairs along here. Like this. I don't really like the way that's going to look, though. I really don't care for that. So honestly... We really do need to figure out an alternative here. What happens if I put... that will... Nope, that won't be at the right angle at all. And neither will that. Well, that will... Let me see here. So... going to be a bear just trying to connect them, but I could connect. See how that looks anyway. Oh, but you see how that clips through like that? Do we really desire that? That's kind of ugly. It's kind of ugly to me. I don't know. It's... You can walk over it. It's just sort of really ugly. I don't know about that. Well, we've really got an interesting situation here. We do need a way to get up and down, but we don't really have a great method to achieve it. If I want to put a... I would think of a ladder, but there's no ladder that could easily be just attached. And it seems like a real waste to make a whole teleporter just to get down to this level. But we need a way to do easy access. I wonder if that would look any better with a triangle. We could try that. if I can fit it. Alright, there's a triangle. That looks a little bit better. Actually, yeah. That does look a little better. I don't know why, but it does. Well, I may accept that, honestly. We'll just take that. And... yeah, I'm not really going to put railings on this thing, at least to a huge degree. We will simply put around those edges there. I can't put them on that, though, because... yeah, that's not going to work. Actually, delete that and we'll put a large one because we're going to have that entire area utilized as like an under walk-off place. Put this here. Put this here, if possible. There we go. And the same for the other side. So there, we've kind of restructured this. I might need to either remove this or move it, because that does not look very nice. Ah, but I have to change that too, because that does not look nice at all. But I can accept that though. That angle, that works better with that thing clipping through like that. It doesn't bother me, but actually that worked quite well. We came up with the solution and we applied it. So now there's a way to get down and access the walkway that will be here will lead to the control room, which is going to be interesting for me to install. Actually, I think I've messed up on this because I want to put it at this other edge because there's a way to connect doors, but we do need to fix this problem with this pipeline. So fixing this pipeline thing right now is the main concern. So all I need to do is, I don't think this will be heavily visible, but we'll just run that to there. And we will connect that up to the side of the wall. Try to go... yeah, I don't know why free placement wasn't on, but we'll try to go in a manner that will look good to the best of my ability. And run that right through there. And that way, that won't interfere. That doesn't look too bad. Yeah, that looks okay to me. Reasonably so. And basically now we can continue and attempt to hook up this business. I do want to detour for a brief second. We will get back to the control room, the establishment of that. Okay, why it's dark outside. Looks a little bit weird though because indoor lighting effects are applied. But we go up to the hangar for a second and I want to kind of add some more, I don't know, details up here to keep it from being a little too boring. So just some visual details. I'm going to go through and find some junk in here that might, the secure archive, that might work quite well. Turn it around. Make sure it's lined up here. Scale it up. We'll use this as a building part, basically. If I can line it up nicely. I don't know the width, so this might be a little bit tricky. It might take a few tries. Like that. Will 2 of them work? Like, yeah, that's the question. If I could jam 2 of them together. Interesting. It'll be a little bit off-center, but it's relatively lined up. Okay, so yeah, it's a little bit off-center, but I'm not going to be too bothered by that, honestly. It's relatively lined up. And see, that does add kind of an interesting factor there to the outside of the structure. We could do some more of that, too. I might do that on either side. Create some descending things on the side here. Now, what I'm going to do with these, though, I'm going to just take these, put them, this is temporary, because what we're going to do with these is I'm going to try to use them to simply line up some more decorative stuff on the side. That might work. It's got lights. And I know this stuff is meant to be like decorations for computer stuff or whatever, but you could use it for different purposes. And it can work well for exterior decoration to make the building look more interesting on the outside. Now here we go. This is going to be interesting. I was thinking of using one of these, or 2 of these actually. If we just flip them around. And we can hook them up like that around that stuff. That could be quite interesting looking. Make sure it's connecting there with that. Hopefully that hooks up well. Well, it's a little weird, but whatever. It's just exterior detail. Let's hook it up on the other side as well. And what I'll do now is I'll delete these. And there! We've got some interesting exterior details coming off the side there. Very interesting and unique. Not bad looking though. We've got some lights on there, which helps. Lights give it an interesting effect for sure. Anyway though, let's go ahead and try to return to this project we got going on. Now, I'm going to delete basically that and this. I had thought of going straight out from the center, but I think I'm going to go a little off center. And the reason behind that is, well, that's our teleporter thing. I better not mess with that. But the reason I'm going to go off center is I'm going to take one of these doorways here, this type. Try to hook it up here. Hopefully it will actually affix. I don't know. We might have trouble with this. I don't know. It's kind of... Okay, there we go. We got it. Basically. And to be honest, we could do a little bit of funkiness with this now that I think about it. If I just line this up straight in the center like this, we can make it work. And nobody will be the wiser. Let me fix that other side. If possible. Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah, that's not super noticeable that that's just put in there freehand. But I'm going to show you why I did that in a moment. If I can hook this back up here. There, we had it. Okay, let's see if I can get this next part that I'm thinking of putting in here without too much trouble. We can put one of these corridors in. Now, we could put the glass... I think we'll put, though, to start this one, because they get rusted. You can connect those to that door, but there's no reason to have glass on it at that part. We might put glass as it goes further out here. But basically, let's go back inside. So. Oh, that actually... Yep, that works. That floor thing is clipping through a little bit, but I don't know. That's... It's not stopping me from walking, and it's not too noticeable to me. So I think I could find that acceptable. I can get through here without too much impediment. So yeah, we can put that out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this stuff out. We will put glass on these parts out here because... And we already are out of pure ferrite. I would have expected to run out of the glass, but we're out of pure ferrite. So we're going to need to get some pure ferrite. And I've got the portable refiner, of course. Ferrite. Pure ferrite. I suppose I could go down and find some big rocks or something. They usually have pure ferrite as well, but let's go ahead and... I keep wanting to jump down there, but I forget that we are now in the era where we have teleportation and free roaming capabilities in that sense. So, see these big old rock, these type of big rocks usually have kind of some pure ferrite, so we might as well just help the refining process along and grab some of that. Hopefully the sentinels will not show up and start angrily protesting with weapons fire. We got a lot of slappy plants out here on this planet. I guess that's to be expected considering the paradise that it is. Uh-oh, investigation time. Okay, well maybe I've got enough pure ferrite to continue on with my business there. Well, they have. It may behoove me too to start building this actually from the outside again, because... Just because building from the inside could be a little bit of a hassle, but I think we should be in range if we're right there. And I gotta decide how far out I want this structure to extend. Let's see. Far enough to put a little bit of distance, but not too far out. We could have... And I don't want to impede the wildlife. We won't crush any mushrooms or anything for this, so that looks like a good spot to stop it, I think. And I may just go ahead and connect one of these circular structures because they're quite nice. I might be able to build sort of a interesting, what would you call it? Now this, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine the control center with the residence, basically, of the administrator or whoever runs this mine. I guess that'd be me, but so I'm going to use this cylindrical building to be the control center room, and then I'm going to construct some residential stuff onto the side of that as best as possible. We'll see how that goes. gotta go up there. Another thing that needs to be done, I need to connect power to it. And we've got that light. I need to deal with that later. Yeah, this will need to have power connected, but this is nice here. I like how this connects. Very nice. Yes, 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 power. Okay, so we must get into our... What is this? Power and industry. And we must connect power to this. Surely there's a... Okay, there's connectors on that building. There we have power. Nice. I think I'm going to put a temporary door here. Just so that I can easily get outside if I need to. I'm thinking of cuboid rooms. But I don't know. They don't seem to connect directly. Well, they do, actually. Wait a minute. You could put a ladder through it. Okay, so that might be the ticket right there, is to put that up there. And you could get from the control room into the residence by way of a ladder. Yeah, I think that could work. Although I must say, ladders have been a little bit... And everything needs pure ferrite. To make matters worse, the fuel has run down in the backpack. Anyway, though, let us get the ladder out. Yeah, ladders could be a bit tricky lately. I don't know. I've had some trouble. I had another base in which I was using a ladder, and for some reason it didn't want to go through the hole. It wouldn't allow me to climb through it. I might need to test this out to make sure the ladder works okay. Okay, it does. I think this plan will be set in motion quite well. So, let's get more cuboid stuff. I guess, to be honest, but I do want to make the most out of... Okay, so we could stick that on the side. We could get quite a bit of space up here. And cuboid rooms are nice and square, so that's good. 7. They're always pure ferrite. Everything takes so much pure ferrite. Perhaps someday I will build an underwater base. I've always had an interest. I've never quite done one, but it would be interesting to build a mining tower like this in the deep ocean. Now I think what we could do is we could go up here and figure out how to make this space residential. First off, I'm gonna put these... I think I need to surround this ladder. Basically. Ooh, black's nice. You could get other colors too, though, if you do the color trick. Let's see what it would look like in mahogany. I don't know. There's nothing super great about that. Gray's nice too. White fits the rest of it. I think we'll go with the white and just fit the rest of it here. And I just want to close that off because to me that makes sense. I wouldn't want randomly walking along and falling this ladder or whatever. So there we go. And I'm going to expand this a little bit, but basically this is the residential for the controller. I need to figure out what I want to put on it. Here's our... There we have our door. That way I can access the outside. build from the outside. And we're out of pure ferrite again. So I think I will just keep it at 1 story. Honestly, we will need to put something up top though to make this more interesting looking. One thing we could do is we could certainly attach any of these roof structures like that to the outside to make it more interesting. I don't know though, this one's nice and high, so I might go with that. Yeah, I think so. I think I'll go with that. It also matches those other parts there, so that's reasonable. Basically, we need to check on our ferrite, pure ferrite process. Gonna need more of that. You know, now that I think about it, I could have put one of these biodomes up top, but I don't know if I... they are kind of neat, because they offer a lot of glass, basically, but I don't know if that's really necessary. It's a little bit overkill, maybe. At least for the residents of the controller, I tend to be really stingy with the controller residents, not give them much... Why is it not what to build? Cannot build too close. Okay, I get it. I can't be in there like that. I will need to connect this thing to the ground in some way that makes sense. I don't like this thing just sticking off into space like that. So there, we'll need to connect it to the ground. And what better way to do that than with the old cuboid frame? Looks nice and does a good job. I'll also put a pipe running through the center, a wide pipe. I like to do that quite a bit. Oh man, I could go for a darker shade of gray. I don't know. They don't have good ones here. There neither. Nope. Okay, I think that's all I'm gonna get. I could just go with black. Yeah, why not? I will go with black. And I will just hook that right up. There we go. And we'll just build this right down to the ground. And it should not have any obstructions. I've chosen a nice, friendly spot to put this, where it's not going to impact anything. Looks like not even a single mushroom will be harmed. There we go. Get back into position to the room frame. Build it down. There, and that's a nice support. Makes that visually a lot better than otherwise it would be, I think. Makes it look... It just makes more sense to me. See, technically in No Man's Sky, you can just have these things sticking off like this, but it just doesn't look right to my eyes. So I gotta put like a support, you know, thing on there to keep it looking better. Let's, I've had an idea. We'll put these type of things, which I don't use too often, but I have in making this base quite a bit more. We'll put those looking out towards the base, I guess. I suppose that's a little bit odd. You might think that you'd want your windows not looking towards that big ugly tower if you lived here, looking out into the... I don't know though, I like having a view of it. The tower is interesting to look at. Besides, you want to keep an eye on it. You'll see you're the controller or whatever, and you want to keep an eye on your tower. You know, whatever. We could have this be, let's say, we could wall this off. Right here. And we could have this in here be like a, I don't know, a bedroom or a kitchen or something. Probably a, maybe a kitchen. Eating place, I suppose. Just put another doorway there. And the controller can eat breakfast and keep an eye on the tower or whatever's going on visually, I guess. Probably we're gonna have monitoring systems or whatever. But yeah, basically. And really all we need now is just kind of a bedroom. And I'd say this is about complete. I'm pretty Spartan when it comes to giving the controller residents, you know, its stuff. And this down here is an actual control room in which I will try to put a bunch of basically control stuff. We gotta put some windows on this too, because I think it needs that. Which large glass angled window. I could do the large glass. I prefer the large glass one usually. I don't know though. Maybe the angled window's pretty neat. I kind of like the angled window. Put that on either side there. Oh, I'm going up the ladder by accident. Remove this door here because I might want to put an angled window, small window. You can't put that on that. Angled window right there. And what I may end up doing is going ahead and putting like some control stuff here, like chairs, control panels and stuff, because this is the control room. Anyway, though, I think basically it's about time that I showed you that preview planet that I said I would, and that you've been collecting glyphs. You know, if you've been watching this, you know, you haven't already previewed this planet, skip to this part of the video and see it. But yeah, this is a planet I have in case you want to go there if you collected all the glyphs. Okay, well, here's the planet. Which you will get if you get to follow that glyph address that you collected, if you did collect it, through watching out the whole entire video and pay attention to every boring detail. But, yeah, this is a kind of an odd planet I found. It's not a true paradise, as I do believe there are occasional storms. And it's not really an Earth-like, per se. As you can see, it's got some very weird, flora, and the color scheme's definitely not what we're used to on planet Earth. But it is kind of, in a strange way, I found it pleasing to the eye, albeit alien. And the flora is quite nice here, I think. These plants, though the colors are a little odd, the plants themselves are very interesting. These particular flowers and those nice palms, combined with the very nice topography, the gentle hills and the vast vistas, it makes it kind of a neat planet. And it's got this overall weird kind of golden tint to it, so it is kind of nice, even though, like I said, alien. Now, I don't remember what the color of the water is. We'll check here. Actually, the water is quite nice. It's this nice teal kind of color under the water, but it does have oceans as well and lakes, so it has a lot of nice aspects. And if you've gone through the whole video and collected all those glyphs, I'd like to tell you, feel free to come to this planet and visit it if you play No Man's Sky, and build a base here if you want. Have fun with it. The don't be concerned. You know, there's no special claim where I'm going to be like, oh, don't come to my planet. That's exactly why I shared this planet, so you can come here if you're interested, if you spent the time to collect those glyphs. But anyway, that basically is the end of this base building session. I hope that you had some kind of fun watching it, especially if you made it all the way to this end part. I would hate to have you waste your time that way on something that was just no fun at all. But if you did enjoy it, definitely give a like to the video. That really helps with the YouTube stuff, the liking, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We're still hoping to continue growing on YouTube. We've grown quite a bit since we started, but we're still hoping to grow even further, so go ahead and subscribe if you enjoyed and you're new. And there's also methods by which, if you really want to do it, you could give us some kind of financial support. There's links in the description, and there's a join button for membership and all that kind of stuff. But, in any case, I really hope that your day or night, whatever the case may be, will be very, very good, and you had a good time, and you'll come back in the future for more. This has been Billy Cultist. Bye-bye for now.